Hi everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Samantha and I'm with the customer experience team at Connecting Up and TechSoup New Zealand. We're part of the Info Exchange Group, a not-for-profit social enterprise that tackles the biggest social challenges by creative use of technology. For those of you who haven't attended a webinar session with us before, Connecting Up and TechSoup New Zealand facilitate a training calendar of online webinars, workshops, boot camps and webcons to help the social sector in all digital areas. Please check out our training and education menu on our website for more events that are coming up online. Today, I'm excited to welcome you to join our webinar, Perfecting Your Plan for Your Not-for-Profit Website, which is being presented by Belle Temby from Digital Services Lab. Belle is a WordPress website specialist for not-for-profits and for-purpose business, delivering awesome websites and digital solutions. She loves working with people who love doing good. Apart from working with brilliant people, she runs workshops, guest presents on podcasts, and pops up on webinars. She lives remotely on the far east coast of Victoria, and in her downtime, you'll find her out in the wilderness or cooking up a storm. So before we begin, I'll just start with a little bit of housekeeping. All lines are muted, so if you have any technical issues, please type it into the questions box on your webinar panel and I'll do my best to assist you. If you've got any questions during the session, please also type them into the questions box and we'll answer them by the end of the webinar. We really encourage you to ask as many questions as you think of throughout the session to make this as interactive as possible. No question is silly, but please note your comments and questions will also not appear to the entire group. If you're on a Wi-Fi connection and have multiple programs open, this can sometimes affect the quality of the audio and video of the webinar. So if possible, please close all other programs to have the best experience. Please note that this webinar is also being recorded and a link to the recording and the slides will be sent to you in 1 to 2 business days. And finally, I'd like to remind you that there will also be a short survey at the end of the webinar. All right, I will hand over to Belle now.
Thank you so much, and hello everybody. I do sometimes wish I could see you out there in the webinar world, but it's just a one-way video today, so I hope that you are doing well. And we are here to provide you a bit of insight into perfecting your plan for your nonprofit website today. I'd just first like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the beautiful lands that I'm coming from today on Wurundjeri country. I'm here at the OC House in North Melbourne. You may have heard of it. They're actually a for-purpose co-work space. So when we're visiting from Mallacoota, we find ourselves here. It's a great space, and if you are in Victoria or visiting into Melbourne itself, I think that you should drop in and say good day to the team, because it's just a fabulous space with a lot of interesting artwork as well, and people that work here. Please type into the question box, not the chat, into the questions box, what country you're on today, and let us know where you're from. And I'm going to keep going while you do that. So just a little bit about my company. It's already been introduced today by the lovely Sam, but basically we're not just a creative agencies, we're also incredibly strategically minded here, and that is in part due to the work that I've done myself on numerous boards, worked in not-for-profits, and I've lived and breathed the sector for about 20 years now. So we provide nonprofits and ethical businesses a partnership that helps to extract, reach and exceed their online goals. Some of the services that we offer, apart from WordPress website specialization, includes digital strategy workshops, web design, graphic design, and website care plans and hosting. So we manage WordPress websites sometimes for organizations that didn't come to us for the build, but for whatever reason there might have been a time lapse and they needed a website looked after. So that's what we do there. And I'm just seeing here we've got a couple of people in Auckland, Victoria, Ballin. So great, nice to have you here, and thanks for putting those answers into the question box for me. Just a little bit about the people on our team, me, myself, and Mike, my husband. We went into business together, and he is definitely the geek of the organization, the nerdy guy that does all the coding and the back end stuff, and I'm more of the front end, like the front person. I do have experience in user experience design. I've studied social media marketing, and a whole range of social science as well, from a background that spanned that not-for-profit over a long time. So today, and these slides will be sent to you so you can read about us if you want, but I'm definitely not going to read all that stuff out. Today we're here to talk about perfecting your plan for a website, and what we really need to understand first is what makes a good website, right? So usually I would be able to see a show of hands, but I'm assuming, or I'll ask the question, who here would love a website that you can be proud of, that demonstrates the impact of your work and also helps you to work smart and not hard? We know this is what everyone wants from our conversations with people over the last 6 years in this business, and 40 years combined experience in the sector. So let's talk about what makes a quality website. And we've developed a quality matrix that I'll introduce you to right now. So there are 2 key factors that determine the quality of a website: aesthetics and functionality. And we put it like a broad gamut of information into those 2. So in our matrix that I'm showing you, the aesthetics axis is the look and the feel of the website. So from spending years of talking to our clients, we know that when the aesthetics are bad, the staff and the stakeholders of an organization find the website to be embarrassing. So that's that bottom end there. And they don't share it and they don't lead people to it, which means that you're really losing out. On the other side of things, we've got all our clients come to us and say, we want a website that looks professional, it's modern, it looks great, we're not that embarrassed about it. And that's great, of course. A website has to look great. On the other side of the axis there, we've got behind the scenes is actually just as important as how it looks at the front. So it has to work well, the functionality has to be there, it has to build efficiencies for you. So on one side we've got inefficient, and on the other side we've got powerful. So you've got functionality that's powerful, or it's inefficient, or somewhere in between. And then the look and feel of it is either professional or embarrassing. And let's have a look. So in that left-hand quadrant, a website that is aesthetically embarrassing and lacks functionality can be damaging. There's no reach. And if people do find the website, it's outdated. This kind of website loses business and actively hinders growth, especially for a not-for-profit organisation. And sometimes you might be in the business of people and you think, well, it's not about money. No, but it is about those people, and it's about serving the people that you serve for whatever reason you serve them well. So it's absolutely important that you are not sitting here with a damaging tool. The next is you need a website that looks great. Sorry, the next part of the quadrant is you've got a website that looks great, but it actually lacks that strategic functionality. It's basically an online brochure for your business. It's not taking the pressure off your staff, as many tasks are still done manually. So that's when we have a static tool. Looks good, but not so great. Then we go into the right-hand quadrant where we've got an unrealized asset. So that is a website that runs well. It's got automated tasks. Maybe you've got a bit of a mic in your office, like my mic, and it's really got a lot of aesthetic potential, but at this point it's only functional. So it's actually costing the organisation connections and leads, and the organisation may also feel ashamed or embarrassed to send people to the website because it just doesn't look right, even though it might have some really cool stuff going on in the back end. And then we've got the holy website, so website done right, and that enables you to reach a bigger audience, have a bigger impact. It becomes one of the most valuable members of your team, and it frees people up from doing repetitive manual tasks so that they can focus on what they do best. So if we want to be up in that top right quadrant, that's when, as we describe it, that's when you have an active asset. A website that is an active asset is a website that looks great and becomes one of the most important, valuable members of your team. Obviously not as important as the humans, but it's working for you when you're asleep and when you're in the background, and it's gaining popularity and usefulness to the people around you. So that's where you want to be at when you're planning for your website. You want to think about having something that looks great, that works well, that is an active asset. And in that plan, I'm going to take you through what are the 6 keys to achieve that. So 6 keys to an active asset. So first, we've got beautiful design. and we've talked about this already, the website needs to be modern, professional, it needs to be responsive, which means that it needs to be on brand. And just in case it isn't clear, I won't write these things down, or the slides coming out to you anyway, but this is your plan. When you're planning for your website, these are the things that you want to take into account. So making sure that you have all of these pieces of the puzzle coming together to give you the best chance at having an active asset, a brilliant tool. So the next thing that we want is that the strategic direction. So a quality website has strategic direction incorporating your business goals, your financial strategy, your search engine optimization strategy, and really clear messaging. So it's absolutely important that you just go, well, I just want a new website because it doesn't look good. That's great, but if you're going to invest time or money into something like a new website, then you want to make sure that you understand what it is you're trying to achieve in your business, and then make that website work for you to help you achieve those goals. The next thing is trusted expertise. It needs to be guided by trustworthy sector knowledge and expertise to incorporate best practice. So that might be either outsourcing, or perhaps you have someone inside the organization that can do that or is willing to learn that. But it is important that you actually do have the knowledge bank there to be able to put together a great website. The next key is the audience focused. A great website needs user-focused quality content and a well thought out structure and really clear messaging, because we obviously don't want to confuse the people that we're trying to serve. We want to make sure that when they come to the website, they can say unequivocally, yes, this website is for me. Yes, this organization is for me. They care about me, and they've demonstrated that care by providing me with a really good user experience. I understand what they do, and I understand what I should do next. Often that might be to contact the organization, to fill out a form, whatever it may be. So that's another key. Then we have the powerful functionality. Of course, we've talked about in the website matrix. A quality website has functionality that allows you to work smarter and not harder. So it includes automations, integrations, and monetization. In some cases, that may not be, if you're purely operational on grant or government funds, then sure, monetization isn't something that you want. However, you do want to provide value, a value proposition for the people that are funding you. So there is that reputational aspect as well. So whether you consider that monetized or not is up to you. And then we've got, of course, reliable technology. It needs to be reliable, and you need the website to be optimized, fast, and easy to administrate. So all of that coming together gives you a really powerful tool to work with through your website. So then we go into the website process. So this is where we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of you perfecting your plan for your website. And I do have quite a bit to get through here. So I know I'm talking a bit fast, but I'm trying to make it as comprehensive as possible for you. So the process that I'm introducing you to the process that we use with our clients when we're planning and mapping and launching a website for people, and it's one that you can follow in your own right as a practice to get you to the end of the website that you need in your business. So the first part of our process is the planning, and this is where you talk about your business goals. So you might say, okay, I'm going to sit down, it's a new website project, or I'm updating my existing website. What are my business goals? Like I said before, write those business goals down and then think about how the website can help you achieve those goals. So is it that you're trying to, I'll call it generate leads, and that's real business speak, I know, but are you trying to collect information from people? Are you trying to take a referral process and make it a little bit easier? Are you trying to get more people involved in your organization so that you're reaching whatever the KPI is? Are you looking for donations, fundraising agendas, whatever it might be? Think about what all those business goals are, and then put a little tick next to the ones that you think the website could help you achieve. The next is to plan your customer expectation. So what is it that they want when they come to your website? They likely want a really good experience. They want to be able to clearly understand what it is that you do, And expectations are, I can contact them. I'm going to know when their opening hours are. I know where they're located, or if it's only online. They're the kinds of things that people expect. People expect that it's not going to take 20 seconds to load your website page on their mobile phone, and people are going to expect that they need to be able to use that website on a phone. So this is helping you plan out what your website needs or where it needs to be improved. Then you've got competitor research, and I put that in there. I think sometimes we see competitor as a bit of a dirty word in the not-for-profit space. But in fact, if you're looking at what others are doing that are playing in a similar space to you or operating in a similar space, then you're going to get an idea. Well, one, you're going to get ideas. You're going to find out what they're doing, how well they communicate what they do, and what kind of features they have on the front end of their website. So doing that research is 100% valuable, and you can note down, okay, well, these are my inspiration. These are the people that I love, and I love what they're doing online, and I want to try and emulate that. Of course, you're not going to copy it directly, but you do want to emulate good people. Then you'll have a little bit of a website strategy. So you're just going to write down the who, what, where, when. So is it a person that's working in your office? Are they going to be critical to the project? How many people are going to be involved? Are they volunteers? How much time do they have per week to put to the website project? And then are you going to be involving other people? If you have a proper website strategy, you're also going to be talking about how you're going to bring people to the website afterwards. Having a website just for the sake of having a website and thinking that millions of people are going to start viewing it within the first year is lacking a plan. So you actually need a strategy. Well, now we're going to go out and promote our organisation in all these different areas, and we're going to bring people back to the website because we're proud of it and we know that people can trust the website and get the most up-to-date information. So having a website strategy in your plan is good. Analyze your systems and processes. So where can you build efficiencies and stop repetitive tasks? Like have a chat to anyone that might be answering a phone, who's dealing with forms and inquiries and referrals, and have a think about what are their pain points. So have a look at your systems and processes and think about how you can build those efficiencies in a new website. The next part of your plan is to know about the framework. So you actually want to think about, well, what kind of a website do we need? Are we going to rent one? And you're renting a website from Wix or Squarespace. How far are we going to grow? So depending on your type of business, it depends on the website foundational framework that you use. So Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, there are lots of considerations to be made, and a lot of the time you can meet your goals now, you can meet where you need to be now, but you really need to think about where you want to be in the future and what functionality might be included in the future. So if it is just a brochure website that you're looking for, I don't recommend that because I think you can do more. But if that is what you're looking for, then maybe investing, thousands of dollars into a website, into WordPress is not a good idea. Perhaps you could use Square and you could do it yourself with a drag and drop editor. It's not quite as simple as that, but there are ways that you can get around budget restraints. So have a think about the framework that you're going to use moving forward, because then that is going to determine the people, the web developers that you might reach out to actually give you a proposal. So in that, in your plan, it's good to think about your framework and then list 2 to 3 people that you might reach out to give you a proposal, so that you can get a feel for who you're going to work well with, and what you want to get out of that partnership. Okay, sorry. Okay, so the next is the map. So if you're doing a perfect plan for a website and you came to my organization and you had some of this stuff already in mind or written down, I would think that you were about the best client I'd ever had in my life. So when you're mapping out your website plan, if you think about the pages that you need and you have an idea of how many pages on the website, I don't mean news articles or blogs, you might have hundreds of those or you might have none, but I'm talking about those core static website pages. So if you map that out before going to someone or before you build it yourself, then you're starting from a really solid foundation of what you need to build and what it looks like. Those website pages have a hierarchy, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. And then you can go further and start mapping out the page structure. So what is it that I need to lay out on my website pages? Each page needs to have a structure. I'll show you more on that too. And then your content. So sometimes I think people may, and I think it's great to just brain dump and write heaps of content out. That's good because it's going to start, you'll be able to start doing some sense making of that. However, going to a web developer with 5,000 word essay for the homepage, or even 1,000 words is way too much for a homepage, is probably not the best thought out structure in terms of creating a good user experience. So having a think about the content and how it's laid out on a website specifically is a really good way to perfect your plan. And then thinking about your header and your footer on your website. So that's the menu bar at the very top. What needs to go in that menu bar? What needs to go in your footer? Are you going to have a sign up form that the footer and the header there on every single page? So you have to think about what valuable content, it's very valuable real estate, what valuable content you're going to put in there that's going to make people's experience better when they're visiting your website. So then we get to, this is a very basic sitemap, and it's showing you that from the home page, then you've got the next level. That next level is should be, by rights, all of the primary menu items. So those menu items in your header, where it says about, services, news, contact, and then coming off the services, you can see here in the hierarchy that you've got care and consult. There's 2 service examples. So then when I'm on that primary menu and I click on services, then that will usually drop down and show me what services I'm offering. So this is basic hierarchy stuff, but I actually do see a lot of errors in this area on websites. So it is good. This is going to help firm up your navigation, basically. Have we got everything? Does it have a structure that it's falling under? Bit of a hint as well when you're planning out your pages, and it does come down to structure. Your about page doesn't need to have 10 pages coming off it. The about page is sometimes the least viewed page on a website, not all the time, but sometimes. And it's often viewed by people who are your funders, who are people that are looking to be employed with you. Them having to click through 10 different pages to figure out what you're about it's not necessary, and it creates a bad experience. So we want to try and get, I always encourage people, try and get your about page, your about information onto one page. It's a good goal to work towards. Now, when I talk about the structure of a page, I'm just breaking down. So this is an example of a page structure. And you'll see here, I've got hero, what we do, who it's for, how we assist you, when we are available, how to reach us, what the team's been working on, and stories. So the idea of this structure is for a services page. This is just an example. And the reason that it's in these levels is because when people are scanning, so they come to a website, they scan the page 6 to 8 seconds. Typically, the behavior of a person on a website is after they've scanned it, then they'll go back to the point that they're interested in. So you have to make a good use of all of the sections on a page and not just kind of dump the information in one section as a big bit of text, or even text and an image. That's not enough. You have to think about, well, what is the valuable information that people are scanning for? How can I make a good use of headings and subheadings on my page structure? So if you got a great deal of this work together, when people work with us, we take them through this process. If you are going to do this without assistance, then this is the way that I would recommend doing it, regardless of working with a web developer or not, because it really helps. It just focuses you in on having a plan. And for each of these sections, we want to make the readability and the accessibility of that information really clear and easy. So we're trying to use really accessible language. I think the readability level recommended for websites is something that, I think a grade 3 student could understand. So it's really basic language that we're trying to use on a website. Of course, if you're in a technical profession and jargon is okay, jargon away, no worries. but you still do want to make it accessible for people in terms of being able to just scan that information, pick up on it, that their screen readers will be able to read it out to them, and it's not going to be endless sentences. So structuring your pages is a part of the process you go through on your plan. And I've got this design here. This is actually kind of moving into the design area, this screenshot that I've got up. And I know that you won't be able to read everything, but these are sections on a home page. So you'll see here that hero space. The hero is the banner at the top. Creating a healthier you. Great. Let's talk about you. That kind of engages me in the second section. Then let's revitalize your health. So that's a program that they offer. It's their signature program. And then they've got a programs and services, meet your facilitators for health professionals, our approach, get in touch. So you can see there's not a big word count there. And this is basically creating a table of contents for the website itself on the home page. And if you have a page structure like this, then you can start seeing how it works. So section 1, hero, section 2, what we do. So this is, section 1, section 2, this is how it all kind of comes together. So there's that visual element to creating sections when you do your page structure. I hope that makes sense, because I know I'm talking about a lot of information here. So well done for following. Okay. The next part of the website process is design. So when you're perfecting your plan for your website, then you're already thinking potentially before you get to a developer of completing a bit of a design brief. And you're like, well, how do I do that? And don't worry, most developers and designers are going to have a brief for you to complete, but it's good for you to start thinking about it now. Or if you're upgrading your website, it's good to start thinking about what is the color scheme I'm going to use. And there are a plethora of amazing free resources that you can use to get a color palette together. You can upload your logo. You might not like, if you like your logo, you can upload your logo into these color checkers, and they will give you a palette that's got some nice accents and some clear, some good color matching. If you're perfecting your plan for your website, you're going to source images. These images are the bane of our existence, really, because not a lot of people come to build a website with professional images, and yeah, sure, sometimes we can't afford that. So then we have to use stock images, and no one's ever happy with stock images because everybody's smiling all the time, and there's a lot of white people, and it's, there's not enough diversity, and they are getting better, but it is hard. It's hard to get that. So if you can source your images first, then you're going to be able to communicate some of the ideas, the things that you're happy with to your developer, or if you're using them yourself. So sourcing just a whole range of images and thinking about the different pages that you do have. I'd love to get a picture of this on my about page or on the services page. This is what will look really good. I do think in most cases, I do see a lot of the imagery that has words and text in it. I actually advise not to really jump into that side of things, because you'll use your text when you've got to communicate words on your website. You should put it on the website, not expect that the picture is going to convey that, and that comes down to readability and at least doing your bit to make the website a little bit more accessible. So sourcing images is great. Low fidelity versus high fidelity. This is just showing low fidelity is like wireframes. I don't know if you've heard of them, but if you are perfecting your plan for a website, you might have a bit of a scribble about what you think might work in terms of a layout. I don't think it's necessary though. To be honest, we don't do it at our work. We go straight to high fidelity designs here. And that means that we design all of the web pages for sign off by the client before they're developed. We don't want to show you wireframes and then you sign off on that, and then we deliver your website. You're like, oh, I didn't expect it to look like that. So anyway, low fidelity is wireframes, high fidelity is having design. Now, whether you sketch that on a pad yourself, it's also just something to think about if you are working with a designer developer, asking them, do you offer low fidelity or high fidelity design? So high fidelity is almost like a finished product, but they're static. Next to think about is if you are doing it yourself, selecting a template. So think about whether or not, if you are doing it yourself, I highly recommend, unless you are, of course, a web developer or designer, I highly recommend that you select a template that might be available through whatever framework you're going. So WordPress have lots of different themes, and within those themes, they have templates for websites. They usually offer about 5 to 6 pages of a website. And that means you do have to kind of retrospectively fit your content and your headings into that design, especially if you're limited in your skill set. But selecting a template or going for a bespoke design is going to be a part of you planning for your website. So are you using a professional designer? Does the web developer, because they're two different skills, does the web developer have a designer? And or if you're doing it yourself, are you going to use a template to basically fit your content into that template? And then making sure that there's a process for signing off before the build. So all this work goes in to the build of a website, and you want to make sure that you know what that finished product is going to be like. Otherwise, you could be very disappointed. It may not capture what it is. So design is definitely something to think about. Hopefully, when you get to the build process, this is when we're working with clients, this is where the client is basically done. They've done the content, they've signed off on designs, and it comes to us, and we have to now deliver the project to meet those expectations. If you are building it yourself or whoever you're working with, there are a few things in the build process that you want to have right. So you might speak to them about, and you don't necessarily need to know what all these mean, but you might speak to them about the content delivery network, some anti-spam software. Are they going to host the email or are they going to host the website? What payment gateways do you need to use if you're doing donations or signing, if you're selling products or doing any type of fundraising online? And you need to know the domain name access. So you'll own a domain name, digitalserviceslab.com.au. Do you have access to where that domain name is hosted? So this is just some of that stuff that you need to have in your plan, because you're going to need to give those details to someone, or you're going to need to use them yourself in your build. SMTP, that's a protocol for sending emails from your website. So you want to make sure that, let me give you the experience. So I go to a website, I fill out a form, and then I either receive a message on screen or I receive an email telling me, yep, we've received your message and now we'll get in touch with you in 24 hours, whatever it is. You need a protocol in place on your website where your emails are authenticated. Otherwise, anything that's sending out from the website is going to go straight into spam. So you need to make sure that you've got some of these functions set up in the background, and it is important that whoever you're working with knows to set all these things up. So it gives you the best chance of success, 100%, and it's a much more secure way of doing things. And then, yeah, those forms, confirmations, and notifications. So you perfecting your plan for a website is about thinking about what messages am I going to deliver once a person has completed a form? What notifications am I going to receive when a person has completed a form? They're all smaller details. They often are missed when we're planning for a website, so I've just listed them here. Hopefully you're working with a great developer, they've done it all for you, and you're sitting back just waiting for it to get to launch stage. So what you need to know for your launch is basically that you're checking off, hopefully, against the designs that were provided to you. So you're just going, yep, that looks exactly, it looks like my designs. I'm happy with how that works. You're testing links, you're testing forms, you're testing plugins and add-ons. Plugins and add-ons are like if you have an event management system or a learning management system, you want to make sure that you're signing off on that. And you want to ensure that everybody knows the launch date. So there's a few people that might need to be involved in the launch date. If you have an IT specialist who is managing your domain names or hosting your emails, what we don't want to get to is a position where you launch a website, your emails go down because no one thought about the domain name records. You actually do want to make sure that you get everyone around the table that needs to be involved, thinking of all of the things, because sometimes we think, oh, it's just a website. But it's not just a website. There are all these other parts to it that need to work and switch on or off or move, or yeah. So there's a little coordination there. So in your plan, you need to think about who needs to be around the table and put time aside for the launch to actually test all of these things, the pre-launch, and then you launch and you go live and it's amazing. Everyone's happy. You've got a professional, beautiful tool. So that ends that phase. The last thing that you want to be aware of in your plan is, I call it the grow phase. That's what we call it in our process. But this is basically the capacity of your organization after the website has been delivered. So training for the website, so handing over to you in the back end, training you to update basic bits of content, add blog posts, maybe change an image, whatever it is that you need to manage on your own, that needs to be accounted for. Are you going to take out a maintenance plan? A care plan will mean that you can often shift work over to a developer. We do this in the form of what we call a care plan, but you need to make, who's going to maintain the website? If I run an update and it breaks, who's going to fix it? So is that something that you outsource, or is it something that you handle in-house? And then, you know, a bit of a fallback safety plan. So who's going to host the website, and is the host taking backups at the server level so that if you need to roll back to a previous version, where is that hosted? The security measures that you're going to have in place internally, I mean externally as well, but that really happens in the build and some of the other phases with the anti-spam and the authentication. I'm talking about, what are the security measures at your work? How many people are going to have access to the website? What kind of information are you handling through the website, and what privacy policies need to be put in place in case there is some kind of a data breach? When a person leaves your organization, you need security measures, so you need to immediately remove their access to the website. Don't use one password and login for everybody on a team. You all have different, you need to have the ability to everyone have a different user role so that people can be deleted without having impact to the rest of the team. And then a system of improvement and review. Once your website is delivered, it really is about, well, where to next? Like, where are we growing as an organization? Are there different systems that we might bring into the website? Are there annual events or activities that we want to start rolling out through the website to see if we can get more traction and more engagement and more inspiration and action from the community? So there needs to be a system of improvement for the website and review, and so I would be building that in to the plan for the website. And it might be, look, you might have a big rest after the go live, or the update is completed, and then you basically, in a year's time, come back together and go, okay, well, what more can we do, and how's it working, and are we looking at all of our data? So you need to have Google Analytics, and you need to have Google Search Console set up so that you can get that juicy data, and then you can build on it and keep improving. So that's the process. If you do all of those things, even if you do half of them, you're going to have a great plan for your website. So just to map that process out again, the planning, the mapping of the content, the designing, the building, the launching, and then that growth. Okay. So then we have to say, well, why would we do all this? It's so much work, and you know, what are the benefits? Is it really worth it? A lot of people are asking. So basically, the benefits are, you'll have a website that reflects the organization's image, is credible and trusted. That gives you a stronger reputation, and that's absolutely what we should strive for in the not-for-profit sector, is a strong reputation. The next is you have a smarter income. So your website will attract donations, it can create new income streams, and will work smarter, not harder, to boost your profits. Another reason is you'll be more visible and reach more people. So engaging your target audience will lead to a bigger impact. So basically, when you work with Digital Services Lab, you'll get an active asset that not only looks good, but has a bigger impact, helps you to reach more people, be more visible, and achieve the goals of your organization. So that helps you to build that smarter reputation, because that builds the credibility and trust. So when people land on a website and see something professional and modern and it looks great, they're going to love what you do, and they're going to be more inspired to get involved with you. So perfecting your plan for a website is going to help you achieve all of these amazing benefits. I do hope that this has helped you today. I'll be here to answer some questions in a moment, just in a moment. But I did want to put out there, if you want to get in touch and have a bit of a free strategy call with me, a little half-hour session just to talk about what you're thinking for your website, or if you wanted to go over any of the details that I've talked about today, applying them to your organisation specifically, then just send me an email, bell@digitalserviceslab.com.au, and I'll send you a booking link, and you can book in a meeting straight into my calendar. I'm more than happy to do that. So thank you so much for bearing with me, and I hope that wasn't too overwhelming. So Sam, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Thank you, Belle. So yeah, guys, if you've got any question, please just type them in the question box now. We do have a couple from earlier in the presentation. So Darren asks, what do you mean takes the pressure off your staff in reference to a website that is a static tool?
Oh, okay. So I may pull that up, but no, it doesn't take the pressure off your staff if it is a static tool. It is taking the pressure off your staff when it has that higher functionality. So the static tool is going to add pressure to the staff. Does that answer the question?
I think that probably does. Thank you. We also have another one from Kerry. She's asking, what do you mean by hero?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I should have explained that. Thank you for pointing that out. If I can share actually my screen again, I'll just demonstrate it instead of trying to explain it. Basically, it's the banner that you land on when you go to any website. It's that first piece of real estate you see. So I'm not talking, we call the menu in a website a header, and I'm just going to bring up, there we go. Sorry. So where are we here? So in this, can you see at the top there where that banner is? It's, oh, excuse me, Mr. PowerPoint. Sorry. So it says creating a healthier you, with a little call to action button and a bit of a subheading in there as well, with a big image. That's the hero section. So it's that first piece of real estate that people see. That's your first impression piece, and first impressions are really important.
Thanks, Belle. Just having a look. We've got someone who'd like to get in touch with you at some point. They know they've got your details there, that they can do that now. There haven't been any other questions. I'll just run through some closing summary and a bit of info for you guys. And then if you've got any questions that you think of in the meantime, pop them in the box. I think we've got time to get to them. So thank you for presenting today, Belle, and everyone for coming. Just a quick reminder again, the webinar has been recorded and the slides and the recording are going to be going up, and they should be available in 1 to 2 business days. There's also going to be a short survey when we close the webinar, so it'd be great if you guys could have a look at that. Yeah, and thank you everyone for being here today. Our heroes, oh sorry, Kerry's just popped in another question. Our heroes only on the homepage, so I think you sort of answered that one, but
no, heroes aren't only on the homepage. It's really, it's what we refer to as, I call it hero. A lot of other designers do as well, but it's also called the banner, and they apply to every page. It's just the first, no matter what page you're on, there is some valuable real estate there when a person first lands, and you don't want to get all the information into that area, but you want to think about, well, why is so if a person is on your about page, and you think, well, we know a lot of people want to know about the team. So you might put a little call to action in that hero section that says meet the team, and then it anchors them to that place on the page because you know that that's what they go to the page for. Or if it's a referral page and you know that people want to fill out the form, but you also want to give other people information, you use that hero area to basically take people to where you know they want to go on that page. It just makes for a better user experience, and it makes for turning valuable real estate into valuable real estate.
Great, thanks, Belle. We hadn't had any other questions come through, so thank you guys all for coming, and we will wrap up now. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, everybody.